Today, we are going to talk about two books, both by the author and singer Eric Victorino. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. The first one is Trading Shadows for Sunshine, and the second one is Coma Therapy. Now, I really like these books. I think these are very fun. I will say I do prefer the first one more than the second one. The second one kind of loses a little bit of the gory and kind of creepy or disturbing vibes that the first one had a lot more of. Granted, they both kind of go back and forth and it's kind of just whatever comes to the mind, but the first one has a little more of this gory, disturbing, and creepy element. So I liked this one a little more. There were some poems and some stories in this that I actually really did like. I thought they were very interesting. But like I said, I do prefer the first one just a little bit more. Also, I had never listened to any of Eric's songs until yesterday. Just for whatever reason, I had never listened to them. And it's funny to me because my sister's friend was obsessed with him. He's actually where I got this first book from, because he read it and he was like, hey, I think you would like this book. And I did. I liked it a lot. And he was like, you can just keep that. And then for my 18th birthday, he bought me this book because he was like, well, you liked the first one. I like this one. And I think you would like it too. So he bought me a copy. So thank you for that. Sister's friend's boyfriend. Appreciate it. But I listened to his music and I actually liked it. He is the singer in Limousines. Crap. Something else. And then he also released it seemed like a solo album. But he's got a really good voice and I actually really liked his songs. They were interesting. And he had a song called Coma Therapy. That was fun. So I listened to that one. It's very, they're good songs. It was funny to me that I'd never listened to them until yesterday. Anyways, though, I enjoy these books. I think they're fun. I will say a lot of them do come off kind of for the emo or edgy teen. They're still good. The writing is done very well. I will say some of these are not very typical poems. Some of the style is very just, this is kind of a rambling or an idea that came. I'm fine with that. I don't really care. I'm not a stickler for any set rule in poetry. I don't mind. But I'm sure someone who really does like a set structure would not enjoy these. I will say that this one, Coma Therapy, had a couple more poems that were really good poems. Whereas Trading Shadows for Sunshine had better short stories, I think. Or I guess maybe almost a better monologue. But Coma Therapy had a couple more poems. There are a lot of ramblings, and the ramblings are not my favorite. There are times where I get kind of annoyed with them because it's this guy just kind of questioning, is he doing things right? And I totally get that that's what he was feeling, so that's what he wrote down. It's fine. They're just not my favorite because they're not really super interesting. Like I said, there are some really good ones in both books. I think my favorite ones, though, do come from this one. The Couch, Baby Bird, and then there is another one, and I cannot think of it. But there is another one, and those are some of my favorites. I liked them as a teen, and I came back, and I still liked them. I think I might have liked them a little more because it's been a minute, and so it's kind of rereading it. This one did have a poem that talks about killing and God and whether or not he believes in it, and it was good. It was a good poem, but for the most part, this one, it's kind of the really good poems are kind of sparse. It's a lot more random thoughts or like my inner turmoil monologue. And then there's like a few really good poems. Like there was the poem So Perfectly Lost Without You. It's a good poem. It's a great poem. And then there's one that he writes, I'm assuming to a partner or his current partner, I'm not sure. And it's really cute. It's a very sweet poem. And so he had a lot of good poems in this one, but there just wasn't quite enough for me. I wanted a little more. If you're into kind of like edgy or a little bit of like gory or disturbing, I think these would be totally up your alley. They do have a lot that is not that. So I think in general, these books are really good. I will read them again. I've read this one. God, I can't even tell you how many times. I think I've read this one at least 7 times. This one I have read all the way through once, but I have read it 3 times. I don't think I didn't finish it. Like I would just read a couple poems here and there, or like I'd read a chunk, but I finally finished all of it. But they're both good. Just like I said, if you do want to read it, expect that there are going to be some that aren't awesome. But I think overall, they are worth a read. Like I said, his writing is done pretty well. I don't feel like there was anything that like completely turns you off. He's got a good structure and a good pace for his writing. I just wish there had been a little more of the stories in the poems. I really enjoy those, so it's kind of a bummer to not have it be solely that. But I get it. Sometimes you don't want to do that, so that's totally fine. But yeah, these were super fun to read. It was kind of fun to go back to something that I read in my teens that I loved and reread it and just see if I still like it. So if you're interested, Trading Shadows for Sunshine and Coma Therapy, I think they're both very fun.